Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks.
What up? Tone Talks is in here. Y'all been waiting for this show. Last week's show was about legacy. This week's show is about Tulsa Real Estate. Jay Morrison. All this super talk. We gonna get real tonight. Everybody been talking all across the internet. I ain't here to debate though. I ain't got no other fund that I'm gonna put y'all in. I'm just gonna give y'all that data. I'm just gonna give y'all the results of my research. And it ain't come back good. Oh man. So this is Tone Talks Dash Radio. Press the Dash Talk button. Or you can go to YouTube. Join the discussion. They gonna be in the chat. They gonna be in there. Zoe Williams, Yvette Cornell, all my people. Join everybody in that discussion. Please use Super Chat, support the channel. Let's have a productive discussion. Let's have a real discussion about whether you need to put your money in your own bank account, in your own refrigerator, or you need to be putting it with Tulsa Real Estate. You know, I watched a few videos. I don't think we all get it yet. I don't think we all understand yet. A lot of people been talking. I don't just take pictures at the Gucci store. I go to people's house like Dre. Or I ain't taking no picture. Let's go. So this whole thing is about this Tulsa Real Estate Fund. And the whole concept that, you know, we as black folks ain't never had no investment structure, or we've been waiting for Jay Morrison. Black people been waiting for Jay Morrison. That's why we ain't got no money. Black people been waiting for Tulsa Real Estate. That's why we ain't got no money. Ain't got nothing to do with redlining. Ain't got nothing to do with slavery, systemic oppression. Come on. All we needed was just a fund. We gonna get into it. So this whole fund is built around the concept of Tulsa and the Black Wall Street and amping everybody up on we gonna stop gentrification. I'm here for American DOS. Is everybody on the board of Tulsa Real Estate American DOS? I need to know everybody's agenda. Yeah, I'm coming, TREF. TREF is the name of the fund. It's supposed to be, I guess, a form of a REIT. I've been looking into stuff, researching and evaluating, because I was brought into this by my fan base, by the Breaking Brown fan base. I was brought into this by a lot of people just to kind of like feel things out. And like I said before, it ain't come back good. What's a REIT? Everybody's asking what a REIT is. I got documents in front of me, all kind of documents, and I'm gonna go through those. It's a real estate investment trust. But this is called TREF. Where the I at? We gonna get to that. We missing the I. It's a reason for that. We gonna talk about that in a second. So the whole concept of a REIT is that you can put all this real estate in there and try to do something as a group collectively. But we need real estate. Do they have real estate? We gonna talk about that in a second. So let's pull back before we get into the Tulsa Real Estate Fund and before we get into Jermaine Morrison, not Jay Morrison. I want everybody to remember that because it's important. And let's just talk about Black America for a second, because I think part of the problem right now is that we just playing at different levels. I don't guess. I'm not giving opinions. When we look at this thing, the black middle family in this country without depreciating assets is worth $1,700. Do they got $500 to give Jay Morrison on the hope that he gonna give them a preferred return? Not a guaranteed return, a preferred return, which comes after his salary. Do they have that? You give him $500, he give you $40 at the end of the year, but don't give you back your $500? Come on. So I'm looking at this thing, and I just want everybody to understand that I'm not here just putting everybody down or to destroy anybody's dreams. I'm here to establish where there's a dream here. I'm here to establish what I've seen, whether I trust my people with this fund. And if I'm gonna tell my people I'm gonna tell all my people, not just my Tone Talks people, all my American DOS. In fact, I'm gonna tell all the black people across the globe. We gonna share that. Uh-oh. We here. We in here tonight. I see 500 already in the box. Everybody been waiting. I got that red light because it's like a stove in here and we cooking. So when I pull back, what I start to see is that we don't really know how to count money and wealth. We don't understand where we live. I done did these articles and like nobody really wants to deal with the reality of what it means that 5 white families own more rural land than all of Black America combined. Ain't no real estate fund gonna fix that. They don't like the answer that we need transformative government to make sure that we fight back against things like what we just saw come out of Congress, stricter work requirements on food stamps that your family, that your extended family might need to survive. They just want that answer. But the question today is Tulsa Real Estate Fund, again, TREF, we ain't got the I though. We're going to talk about that. Is that the answer? Is Jay Morrison the answer? Look good, slick, brother stands well. Is the background as good as the foreground? We're going to get into that. So I'm looking at it, and I don't think we understand. I posted an Instagram post. I didn't plan for everybody to get all frustrated and start sharing it, and the debate started on my Facebook page. Understand this. Only 5% of all black families, are worth more than $350,000 hard. That's the pension, the house, everything. So you can be, at $350 hard, $25,000, $30,000 liquid, and be in the top 5% of black families. Do we understand where we live and that is not enough to be in the top of America? Do you understand that that's the top 30% for white folk? Do you understand that there is no segregation where you can say, well, that's white folk then? Look over at income. The BLS data, I put that up. I'm not here guessing or giving you opinions. And that's part of the problem, is that y'all used to this whole debate about whether what I'm saying is an opinion and you have a different opinion. No, this is just what it is. You can't guess on what 1 + 1 is. It's just 2. So only 5.5% of black households bring in more income than $112,000 gross. That's before the student loans and the taxes and everything else. So when we go in this thing and start saying that $500 ain't a lot of money, I have to wonder, for who? When I look at $500, it's the difference between you eating through this month and next month, and you not. When I look at $500, it's something that could be in your kid's college fund versus that zero that you got right now. When I look at $500, I look at a third of what the middle black family is worth when you take out depreciating assets. But I'm not guessing though. I'm here having a discussion about the realities of what it means to be black in America. But for a lot of people, they just made it all up. Fantastical dreams with no kind of support. When I deal with all of this stuff, I watched the video with Jay Morrison, and he was talking about seeing 21 Savage. I don't even know who that is. He was seeing 21 Savage, and that's no put down to 21 Savage, whoever he is. But I'm at my age, I don't know who that is. But I just know that I don't really run up on people at stores. One, I don't go to the Gucci store. But 2, I don't run up on people at the store. When you look at my Facebook page, there's pictures with a lot of people, and all those people was because we was having dinner or at their house. Because I don't need no picture with you at the Gucci store so that I can tell other black people support my business so I can sell them some stuff. What I need is for what I did with Rick and Dre. I'm sitting there with them. I'm reading the new Jim Crow. Then you can have my copy, Dre, because you need to read the new Jim Crow. Talking about Dr. Dre. And I'm only saying this because we got a lot of things going on where people are saying they know people. But then it's like, do you really know them if you just met them at the mall and like ran up? Or did you really talk to them for like an hour? Or did they really talk to you, and do they know who you are? This is what we gotta do. We gotta start having this discussion. We gotta start really dealing with the context and the reality of what it means to be black, what it means to be be about black people and who we need to be listening to. I come back to myself and, for those people that are my fans, kind of know my background. For the new people, let's just make sure that we clear. I went to UCLA, one of the top 10 institutions in the world. Went to Loyola Law School. I practiced law here. I was nominated for an Emmy. A lot of people was talking about that, trust funds and all that. My parents had me at 16. Ain't no trust fund. And the odd part about it is when you know the data, for black folks, there ain't no trust fund. At best, you got a few black people hooked to a boomer. But there isn't this critical mass of black people hooked to trust funds. What world do you live in where you don't know the data, but you talking finance or wealth or anything else? A fantastical one. And I want to pull back the covers today and have a real discussion about Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund and what I'm seeing and whether it's a REIT. I had to do all this research. I don't want to know about REITs. Understand this, I invited Jay Morrison or Jermaine Morrison onto the show. He knew about this through his people. He was invited. I guess he's chosen not to come, but I'm going to have this discussion. And understand this, I'm not having a second one. So there's no next week of a debate and all this because I'm not here to debate. I don't have another fund. I'm only here to have a discussion about what I see with this Tulsa real estate and what I see with Jay Morrison. And the reason I have to talk about him individually is because he's tied himself so succinctly into the business in this odd key man kind of unique, my first IPO kind of way. And so let's get this discussion going and have it now. So I look at this thing and at first, let me pull my first set of notes. And I started studying about REITs. And I got a 15, 20-page document, but I didn't even have to get past the first paragraph before I had some questions for Jay Morrison and for the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. This is what a REIT is. During the last 12 months, we have seen a resurgence in real estate investment trusts, REIT. REIT market participants have started de novo REITs, including equity REITs and mortgage REITs. A REIT is an investment vehicle designed to allow investors to pool capital to invest in real estate assets. So that's a real estate investment trust. And what I wanted to know was whether TREF is a REIT. And I don't think it is. Actually, I know it's not because they say it's not in the document. This all kind of started because I did a video. Thanks for everybody who supported it. And I kind of wanted just to read this document. And I just kind of, at that point, had just kind of covered the basics and talked about what's not in this document. But today we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to pull back the covers. I don't know how many calls I'm going to take because I need to get through some stuff. I'm going to try to take a few calls. At some point, I'm going to have Yvette call in. But I need everybody to understand what a REIT is. So there's several elements to the problems with this company, and I'm going to break it down to 4. The first thing is there was no IPO. There was this big statement of an IPO. Now, an initial public offering is like an investment bank getting behind your company because there's valuation there, and essentially, in some cases, they buy the stock and they sell the stock, as I understand it, and they put it onto the NYSE or the NASDAQ publicly. That's why it's an initial public offering. This is you go to a website and then send your money over. Now, I don't have no qualms with black people doing business a different kind of way. But when you use certain words, it infers certain protections, certain abilities to liquidate and certain abilities to move. It gets people excited in a certain way. So there's no IPO. That's the first thing. The second thing is valuation. You don't get to just make up the value of your shares. That's the point of doing the initial public offering. The market will tell you your value. When you got a company with nothing inside and then negative $15,000 in liability, all those shares is worth negative money. You can't just say each share is worth $50 and then say that each bucket of shares is worth $500 to just start. No, there's no valuation support for just setting that price. You made it up. So you sold people nothing and then just told them, just believe in me. And we'll get into who the me is in a second. But the other thing that's in this document that kind of will uncover is that You don't buy ownership. You become a member and the manager still owns the company, the manager being Jay Morrison. Hold on. I'm going to say that again. Jay Morrison owns the company, at least from the SEC document. That's all I'm going by. So I'm here at a point where I'm trying to understand this company and understand why Black America got so excited, because we can't just be in a place where we don't read the details. We're at a point where we need to be able to understand the plan. We need to be able to understand how to move forward. We need to be able to understand ourselves, because it's going to get shaky out here. I showed y'all the Ray Diallo chart last week. Wealth is calcifying. Wealth is at a point where essentially we have the same amount of wealth at the bottom as we do at the top. The bottom 90% has the same amount of wealth as the top 0.1. The last time we seen that is the Depression. And so now we're at that point again. And we need to be able to understand. We need to be able to understand that when it happens that way, it creates significant issues with the ability to have the basic components of life. So here we go. So we have no IPO. We have a valuation that isn't justified. And then the last thing is we don't have a REIT. We got something else, but we don't have the investment part of it. So I'm looking at this thing, and the last thing I said for is Jay Morrison himself. You know, Mr. Real Estate or something of the sort. I don't have no problem with the brother. I don't have no problem with a black man that got out of prison and trying to rebuild his life. But I'm going to tell the truth when I see everything. Somebody sent me this thing where he said he going to make people a millionaire by 30 in 3 years. Understand this. I don't guess. I don't miss. The reality of the black condition in this country is we have been locked out of wealth from the day that we stepped off that boat. From the day that we stepped off that boat. Now, no trust fund or real estate fund or super person is going to change that. The only thing that could change that is us pushing forward for politics that change it for everyone. So here we are with a guy that's saying he can make millionaires. Now, understand this. There's 20 million black families and only 380,000 are worth more than $1 million. That's it. Primarily boomers. There aren't this critical mass of black millionaires that you made up in your head. You got to know where you live or we can't have this discussion. This comes out of the most recent Federal Reserve data. Now, if you don't believe the Federal Reserve data, that's okay. But you got to give me some other data, though. You can't just say because there's people sleeping with millions of dollars under their mattress. I did the documentary Freeway Cracking the System on Freeway Rick. Nominated for an Emmy, was on Al Jazeera. Go check it out on Netflix. But I learned a lot about like the dope game and like money and everything else. I don't think we understand that how much of that dried up. We just kind of made up like that is still here. We just kind of made up that rap is still making money. We just kind of made up that there's 1 million NBA stars, not 200 or 300. We just kind of made up that white folks don't own all the wealth in this country. Come on, baby. You got 83 million white homes, 15% worth more than $1 million. Whole neighborhoods, whole families, whole communities. Understand that you got a whole million worth more than $10 million. Running industries. None of this little slick talk is going to get us to the point where we change that. None of that slick talk is going to get us to a point where we can move forward. So how do we move forward? Well, first thing is we got to uncover how not to move forward. I started to look into Jay Morrison because he tied himself into this whole thing, and I want to get into some of the details of what I see inside of his backstory. But before we do that, let's talk about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. So I got the SEC document. For everybody else that needs to get it, pull it up. You need to read it on your own. But we're going to go through some of the sections in this thing, and we're going to learn today. I'm going to read some of these sections, and you tell me whether they make sense. And I tell you. Again, Dash Radio, press the Dash Talk button. You can support this by going to YouTube, join the discussion. We got about 800 people in the box. We're gonna really make sure this discussion gets everywhere because everybody just need to hear it. Funds will be made immediately available to the company once the company raises a minimum of 100K. So once they get to 100,000, they can start spending money. I don't understand how that correlates. How about when you make your first deal and make some profit? Okay. In a designated escrow account in the company's name for the purpose of acquiring assets or working capital. There are no provisions for the return of funds once the minimum of 2,000 interests are sold. So once they sell, so they made the interest not 500 each. They made them $50 each. But you can't buy $50 sets. So everybody buys 10. That allows them to race to the 2,000 interest where they don't have to return your money. Come on. Do y'all see it? Do y'all see it? Do y'all see the swing? So you ain't got to get 2,000 interest. You really got to get, I think, 200 interest before you ain't got to return my money. But the whole point is saying 2,000, you should make it 2,500. If you trying to do me right, I'm just coming just to explain this thing. No public market currently exists for our interest. Now, there was an IPO, an initial public offering, but no public market currently exists. The company will be managed by Tulsa Founders LLC, whole nother company, which is managed by Jay Morrison. Now, I got another SEC company a REIT, a REIT, that announced in 2017, and I'm gonna tell you about who manages their company. It's an outside external manager that manages $9 billion in funds. It isn't the same circle of people managing the same circle of money, in essence, making it so we don't have no management. So we look at this thing, and what we start to see is the company has set a minimum investment requirement of $500. Subscribers may start funding their investment account with as little as $50, but their funds will not be invested, and they will not become a member until they get to $500. The company does not currently own any assets. Let's say that again. The company does not currently own any assets. So look, black folk, I'm gonna talk to you real. If you ain't had no money for savings like rent, 3 months of rent, 3 months of food, if you didn't have basic savings, you had no business giving your $500 to anybody. Investing is something that we traditionally have not done because we don't have discretionary wealth. Let's pull up that BLS data again. The sweet spot of black income is 35,000. The middle black family worth 1,700. We live check to check, not because we spend money on Jordans, which is conservative talk by black folks who are conservative but want to watch liberal TV, but want to listen to Puff Daddy. They just kind of scattered. No, we do that because we've been shut out of wealth. And I'm not guessing. I said it before. I did an article on Fortune magazine 3 weeks ago, did a report with Sandy Darity and Dark Hamilton. I'll share that with you in a second. Actually, let me share that now. If you got the report, you can go to page 27. And the report is called What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racial Wealth Gap. This is Sandy Darity from Duke University. Come on. Oh, man. And what we said is, as we have noted above, wealth begets more wealth. Higher levels of wealth enable greater access to the more favorable terms for credit. Wealth provides individuals and families with financial agency and choice. It provides economic security to take risks and shields against the risk of economic loss. Literally, it takes wealth to make wealth, while blacks largely have been excluded from intergenerational access to capital and finance. Now, the reason why I'm tying that in is because what you see with Jay Morrison is he's trying to take your wealth to make him wealth. Let me say that again. The reason why I tie that in is because he's taking your wealth to make him wealth. Let me say what I mean. If you really about black folks, just take a $30,000 salary for the next 2 years. No extra money for marketing and pictures and whatever else you're doing. Take $30,000 till you make this thing profitable. And if you don't make it profitable, give people back their money. I think that might be a little hard because you want to split up $500,000 amongst 7 people or some kind of obscene thing, because you don't know that only 5% of black families make more than $112,000. You want to pay everybody like they in the top 5% of black families. as if this fund is profitable already. Come on. So when I look at this thing, coming back to it, it asks, this section is supposed to tell us about the company. And it says to see the description page. You know, that's where it says see the description page. And when I go to this description page, this is all I get. Tulsa Real Estate Fund, LLC is an emerging growth company which was formed on July 20th, 2016. We have commenced only limited operations, primarily focused on organizational matters in connection with this offering. We intend on generating revenues in two ways, from quick turnaround assets and long-term hold investments. Now that sounds real good, I think, if I don't know nothing about investing. He didn't say nothing there. The only way that you can understand that is by reading another SEC for it. So I'm gonna share one with y'all. I went out and found a company that did a REIT, R-E-I-T, Real Estate Investment Trust, not just a R-E-T without the investment. And this is their same section. Granite Point Mortgage Trust. We are a Maryland corporation that focuses primarily on directly originating, investing in, and managing senior floating rate commercial mortgage loans and other debt. Concurrently with the closing of this offering, we will acquire our predecessor in its portfolio, which consists of 41 commercial real estate investments with a principal balance of $1.6 billion, with an additional $181.9 million of potential future funding. We will be externally managed by Pine River Capital, a global asset management firm. We will be externally managed by Pine River Capital, a global management firm in charge of $9 billion in assets. Make my money feel safe. You know what they're going to say is that's a white company. And what I say back is I watched your video and all you did was pretty much follow a white company. Went to somebody's meeting and you learned this thing by watching somebody on a chalkboard, and now you're just going to do it. There's no genius in that. And also then you can't say I can't go to the same company that you did that with and get a better deal, or not a safer deal. Let me explain what I mean. So I'm looking at this thing and I had to get into Jay Morrison because he added so much different kinds of language in this thing about himself and about managing things and about having a key man clause, which doesn't really, honestly, I had no idea why he added this key man clause. We are significantly dependent on Jay Morrison. The loss or unavailability of his services would have an adverse effect on business operations and prospects, and that we may not be able to obtain new management under the same financial agreements, which could result in the loss of your investment. That's not a common term. As an attorney, the only time I've seen him is in deals like when you do production deals, because say you do the deal with a particular producer, if he leave that company, you don't want to be with that company if they sell it or something. This is reverse. He got your money, but then if he leave, your money might disappear. Why would that be in the SEC document? It's not in the Granite document. But now once you open that Pandora's box, once you start talking about I did $1 million deal by 28, in a world where black folks don't really do $1 million deals all that often, in a world where black folks, all of us, struggle with student loans, we'll get to that in a second. You open up a whole Pandora's box for me to ask about you. So the two things that came to me, and now I kind of have it solidified, is this lawsuit and this bankruptcy with Jay Morrison. So, I'm literally figuring out how I want to do this. I don't reach out to nobody. I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm an attorney. But we don't have black media. And when you don't have black media, who steps to the call? Dash Radio. Tone Toss. Come on. And so like this individual, I think his name is Michael Levant, he reached out to me in my direct message and said he wanted to tell me his story. And I say, okay. Now, you might not remember that name, but it's the name on a lawsuit that Jay Morrison was involved in. I pulled it up on the last video I did. And this is what Michael Avant says to me. I've known Jermaine my whole life. We are church people. And what he said is that he inherited land. He inherited land from his family built a house on that land using equity from his current home, and then brought Jay in, Jermaine is his name, as a 0.25% interest owner, or a 0.25% interest partner, let me say that. Next thing you knew, it was sold out from under him. He sued for his $200,000. The charges were breach of contract, failure of consideration, fraud, fraudulent inducement, fraudulent transfer. And they settled at $200,000. This is all public record. They settled at $200,000. So a settlement is not like the judge orders you. That means y'all sat down and you said, I'm going to pay you. Let's just get rid of this. I owe you money. And then that's in 2009. So since 2009, he ain't got paid. So then in 2016, Jay Morrison files a BK. And one of the people that he's trying to put in the BK is this Michael Levant guy. Understand this is what we dealing with. So we got a whole thing about Tulsa real estate and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and black people losing their land and being stolen from. It don't matter if it's a white person or a black person that do it. The whole idea is that black people have been stolen from, and I'm with that concept. But if I find out that you stole from black folks, I'm on you. And my point of doing this is for not only for somebody like Michael Levant, who seemed like a good-hearted man, but also for all the other black people that believe in the shit you talking about. Because there's going to be another black guy behind you that went to Columbia that really know about investing, that's going to really have a plan. And because your plan might not have worked because it never was set out right, he ain't going to get black people to believe in it. So we here. Let's talk about it. 323-879-4445. You can call in if you want to talk. Let's take a break. I'm going to come back and shine this up. What up, y'all? This is Antonio. I'm back. So again, Dash Radio, press the Dash Talk app. Tone Talks on YouTube. People got me going on this discussion. I just want to be clear for black folks, get everything straight. For everybody's edification, BK is bankruptcy. That's what I'm saying. This is the document that's public record that I found. Yvette Carnell is now on the line with me. I roll with her tough. She's done a lot of research herself. I want to bring her in to get her opinions. Yvette, are you there?
Hey, what's going on? I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much. You're going to have to roll with me the rest of this show, and we're going to take callers. Hold on. Let's get this going. So, Yvette, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm about to go through some more of this document. What's your take on this whole thing, Tulsa Real Estate, Jay Morrison? What have you found, the last video he did?
Well, it was so odd. But let me just start by saying one thing I'm really tired of, and I'm really, really tired of. I'm tired of people who are not millionaires saying they're going to make people $1 million. Like in that video, if you watch the video where he responded to Antonio, the first thing, I wasn't even really going to go in. I was thinking I was going to leave it alone. But he was such a smart ass. Like he was so like, he didn't just, if he had just, I would have felt better if he had just done the video and just answered the questions. Because when you do all that snark and then you start talking about God and you start talking about my people, I appreciate all of that. But we're talking about business. And see, one of the things that he said, well, we can't charge just a 2% fee, and we can't just do like white companies and charge 20% profit. And we don't have to split it 50-50 because we need more of the money because we have less capital. What you're basically saying is the same thing we say all the time. You don't got the money. And so what you want us to do is to pay more money and have to pay you more money because black people don't have the money to be here. That's what you're basically trying to ask us to do. So you're basically saying, listen, we got to charge 8%. White firms charge 2%. We got to charge 50%, take 50 of profit. White people take 20. Well, we got to charge you more and take more out of the profit you don't already have because this is what it takes. It takes us getting less in order to have black business. That's a problem because what you're really telling me is that we don't have enough and you don't have enough for black business. And then you said something in the video about you put in $150,000 to $200,000 seed capital, but then you moved it to another company so black people didn't have to pay for it. You're going to take it out of your 50 and it's still the same. It's still another.
None of it works this way. None of it works that way. None of it works that way. Yvette, you know what's a trip about the whole thing is the BK is public record. Y'all can go find it, but there's certain things that are important in there because it tells a story that this man going through the same stuff we going through. Yvette, myself, everybody that's listening, man, it's built baked into this thing. Now, I'm not saying we got to stay here, but we got to fight together. We can't deal with no $1 million, like $200 plan. Somebody gonna sell us $1,000 plan to make us a millionaire. We gotta really do politics. We gotta define Black Americans, American DOS. I'm coming, Jesse. See you in August. See you in September. I'm sorry. See you in September. American DOS. We got to do these things because that's how you get to reparations and you make a demand on this country that's the wealthiest in the world. Now, I look at this thing and I got to, because, you know, he's done this himself by talking about making $1 million. That's not what's shown in the BK. You can Google, find it yourself. It showed $5,000 in assets that he held and $700,000 in debt, including Mr. Avance. It showed a $2,000 a month in income. Sound real black to me. Let's pull up the BLS chart again. You in the middle. You right in the middle with all of us. I ain't in the middle though. You know, it's just a trip because like I see this thing and what I start to feel is like, are we really understanding what was said when it said that you need to pay people for the time that they worked already? You weren't working on this thing for 2 years full time though. Why would we pay you full time at the top 5% of all Black income earners for 2? Why would we do that? Why would we do that when we need to use all the money to try to compete against white companies that already got buildings? None of it makes sense. Now, also, hold on. This is the big part. You compared your fee to a company that is a real REIT, REIT. The investment part is important. What Jay Morrison says in the document is that, and essentially, they are not a REIT. They're something else. You know, and I think that in a lot of ways that means a lot. Yvette, what do you think?
Well, I think it means a lot that he cobbled together a whole bunch of stuff that don't normally get cobbled together. You try to read in there and take the eye out, and then you got people saying they make an investment, but then you turn around and people say they pledge, and you don't pledge an investment. Either you put the money up or you don't. You don't get to pledge. This is a whole lot of cobbled together stuff. Then he say, I got an IPO. This is my first ever IPO, but it ain't no really stocks. It ain't really no stocks, no shares. It's membership. So I don't really know how to assess the thing because I can't tell what the hell going on.
Yvette, we got people in the chat. We got people in the chat. Let me read this section because I don't like to just guess. I'm going off of words in the document. Let me just show y'all. I'm going off of words in the document. What it says is investors will not receive the benefits of the regulations provided to a real estate investment trust or investment companies. We are not a real estate investment trust, but that's the whole pitch. And we, as a result, enjoy a broader range of permissible activities, including, you know, these are the things that you miss out on. See, like when you use, it's funny because like money has a lot of things to it. One part is you can spend it, but another part is you can protect it. You can call the police and all that. One of the things that you found with like dope money is that you can't call the police, so you lose a whole lot of power. You know, Freeway Rick put up the money for Anita Baker, but he couldn't enforce the contract. So I'm looking at this same thing and like what you doing here is charging me like you giving me all the protections of a company worth $1 billion that's an investment, you know, a REIT, but you don't have the registration power, you don't have the adoption of specific forms, you don't have the requirement of reporting, record keeping, voting, proxy. In fact, you say that we not gonna have no say. We just members along for the ride with you, the Jay Morrison that I described earlier. None of this makes sense, black folk. Fantastical, magical answers won't make sense. I keep telling you that you ask me for a solution. The first solution you got to understand, stop drinking that soda pop. I need you to look at this thing and understand when something don't really add up. I need you to look at this budget. They got the budget here, and they say when they get to $12 million, they're going to use $600,000 for something called working capital. Now, they define working capital as costs associated with our web development, marketing, and working capital. Hold up. So you're going to use $600,000 on websites and marketing. Then you go to the Instagram for it's all like pictures and is this like you going on trips around the world and just showing, is this part of I need to know that as an investor. Whether you consider that to be how you gonna market this fund, because I don't want to pay for you to go on a trip. And I don't want no single black mother who really thinks that doesn't understand 8% ain't gonna move the needle for her, and that it really cuts into her ability to provide for herself, to see you doing that and think you making money for her. Yvette, what's your take on this?
Well, if you go back and watch, and for those who want to know, the video that Jay Morrison put up is on his page, where he's actually talking about, you know, why they're doing it the way they're doing it. And one of the things he said is that we put up all the risk and we got to pay ourselves. And Jay Morrison, I really, you know, he said he became a millionaire by 28, and then he made his first million off real estate in the same video. And then he also said something to the effect of, but then we have what Antonio has brought up, a bankruptcy. So I don't understand. You made $1 million, then there's a bankruptcy, but then you all invested $200,000, and then how much do you think your time is worth, Jay Morrison? And then I need to see some paperwork.
Explain that. Explain that when you say how much your time is worth. Because usually, when you want me to pay you the sum that we talking about, 100, 1,000, 100,000, whatever it is, it's because you're missing out on something. Well, if we look at the numbers on the BK, it's not like you're missing out on nothing. So I'm not understanding. So you're saying pay me because I have these unique relationships. Well, lay those out, because in the granted form they laid them out, and they didn't ask for what you asked for. So look, we gonna call in 323-879-4445. Me and Yvette gonna keep going on this show. Read some more sections. We gonna take callers now. If you want to call in and give your opinion, Jay Morrison's welcome to call in and talk about his whole issues. I'm open to that. I would have preferred that he set it up earlier, and I opened that, and y'all all saw that. I'm not here to do a takedown. I'm here to do the truth. Everybody asked me to do it. I just want to do it once. Not doing it next week. Hopefully he don't want to debate. I'm not doing no debate. Let's keep going on this document, Yvette. You ready?
Yeah.
Purchasers of our interest qualified hereunder may be unable to sell their securities because there may not be a public market for our securities. Any purchaser of our security should be in a financial position to bear the risk of losing their entire investment. Let's here we go with a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Big Elvis, the chef from New York.
What's up with you, man? How you feeling today? What's your take on this whole thing?
It's just another dressed up dude in a suit. It's like the black community gets so weak for somebody who wears a suit so nice. I've seen it already. I've seen it happen before. This is nothing new. It's like I was in the bar business in Harlem back in let's say 12 years ago. And there was this guy, he opened up at the old Mrs. Wells, you know, Wells Chicken and Waffles. This guy opened up the store. He got so many investors. They spent a couple of $1 million. The place was beautiful, but the guy was just a guy in a suit. He knew nothing about business.
Can you tell them? I know you. Can you tell them about your small business that you started with your hands that's real and legitimate in New York?
Oh, man, I'm struggling, man. It's like everybody's brainwashed. If they don't see it on TV, it ain't real.
What kind of business you got?
I got a pizzeria right now.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. It's not easy, though, man, because every week everybody want to get paid. They don't care what happened in the middle of the week, during the week. Everybody wants their paper. And let me tell you, all I am is a glorified worker, you know? And that's why I want to get out of the pizzeria business and do coffee. You know, just give the white people the expensive coffee.
So let me read you something. You and Yvette. And I want you to give me your opinion on whether you want to give some of our risk factors include, this is the Tulsa Real Estate Fund that we talking about, and Jay Morrison, and this is the SEC document. We are an emerging growth company with limited operating history. Subscribers, so they go from members to subscribers, will have limited control in our company with limited voting rights. The managing members will manage the day-to-day operations of the company. We may require additional financing, such as bank loans. We have not conducted any revenue-generating activities. Our offering, listen to this. This goes back to my initial statement about valuation. Our offering price is arbitrary and does not reflect the book value of our Class A interests.
Wow.
Lastly, our independent auditors have expressed substantial doubt about our ability to continue as a going concern. What's your thoughts on that?
He's covering his butt. He's letting you know that do not in any way expect anything that I say as far as your money's going to go. Just believe in me in my suit. Believe in me in the Gucci store. Believe in me bumping into celebrities. But other than that, it's like, and you know what? People are going to pay the $500. They're going to do it.
Man,
They're
Yvette,
gonna do
we got the picture. Caller, thank you so much for calling in. I always appreciate your support, man, and I hope your business. Somebody was asking about your business on Yvette's page. Go on her page on Facebook. They wanted to come support. So Yvette, I'm coming back to you, and we got the pictures of looking like Montel Jordan, and we got the R&B album mansion pictures, and we got the wedding, and it's $50 to stream the wedding, and then we got all kind of things like that. What do you think about the imagery of selling financial information to black folks as though it's an R&B album?
Well, but see, I don't even think he when I watched that video. One of the things that the Jay Morrison video that the second time I watched it, I began to wonder, is this guy actually believe himself to be first of all, he calls himself Little Malcolm. How old is this Negro? You call yourself Little Malcolm when you're 12. And Malcolm X said, show me a calculus and I'll show you a bloodsucker. So I don't even think you even read any history about that. But I'm not even gonna get into all that. What you're doing does not for you to be showing that level of opulence, and then and trying to be Puff Daddy, and then comparing yourself to Malcolm. You just cobbled together a bunch of madness to try to make something work, and you stuck this thing together with duct tape that don't make sense. Now, if this man had tried to answer the questions legitimately without all the snark and all that stuff that he came with, because your first video wasn't snarky, you were just asking some legitimate questions. That's just what it was. He came with all that snark, and whenever I see people come like that for no reason, I start asking, what are you trying to hide? Because on one hand, you'll say, we can't do it like the white man. We got to do it this way. But then you'll say, I got my idea from a white man. I heard a white man say this. Nick gave me the idea. And I want to be around this board and look like white people. I want to be in the Gucci store like white people. So I don't really understand what you're talking about.
Let's take this next caller, Yvette. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Antonio, Yvette. It's Reggie from Boston. What's happening?
What are agreements or arrangements? What do you think about that, Red?
None of that makes any sense. I'm telling you straight up. There's no thing that doesn't come with accountability. There's no way to get him out of here if this goes wrong. Even at the highest companies, even if you're talking about your Amazons, your Walmarts, there's things set up to ensure accountability for the people that are investing in you. So for him to pull all of the strings makes no sense, and he's not even the man like that. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, let's not take snark. I don't want to take the low road with talking about kind of never met the man in person. I'm not trying to shut you off, Reg, but I want to have a discussion about specifics. When we look at this language about SEC documents, it says the company will be owned by the manager and have a membership which may include, but is not limited to, the individual retirement accounts, banks, and other financial institutions. Yvette, what do you think about that? Owned by the manager and have a membership.
Well, here's the thing. Well, what's the point? See, I don't think people understand business structure. He talks a lot about what we don't understand, and he says we're criticizing him because there's stuff that we don't understand. No, I think what Jay Morrison is doing is capitalizing on how black people, we don't understand business structure because we've been so locked out. He doesn't have a strong board. What you really want, think about how I talked about this before, but how Steve Jobs got basically pushed out of his own company. You need to have a powerful board. So if you get loose, that board can get rid of you. What you're saying is that Jay Morrison owns everything. He's in charge of everything. The only thing he needs from you is your money.
Let me go through some of these things in this video. I watched this video, that he called Tulsa Talks, because my stuff is called Tone Talks. I think he did that. And at the beginning, it said 2.25 million raised. I thought it was 10 million. Then he started talking about 21 Savage at a Gucci store. And then he said, I want in. And then he called that an endorsement. Understand, I don't know what that means, dude. I try not to talk about celebrities, especially when I was doing that documentary. I'm talking about where you really break bread, have dinner with like Teddy Riley or Dre or Nick Cannon. I don't know what this is, but the thing I do know is that celebrities don't like to be sold on no concept. You need to be proven. So I guess maybe you don't understand that ain't nothing in the fund. Ain't no buildings. And then he said in the video that he need the money to get the buildings. Well, the other REIT that I read to you earlier, granted, they already got 41, worth 1.6 billion. So you don't like it's quite normal to have buildings already inside. That's why the valuation will be set by the market at a certain rate. But I guess you don't know none of that. Then, I look at this thing and I look at we haven't had an economic model in our lifetime. One of the things that jumped out, is he took this shot towards African Americans, I guess, that have student debt. I don't have no student debt. I don't come from a trust fund. But then when you look at the papers, the BK papers, it shows Sally Mae just like anybody else's stuff. I want black people to feel confident about their life. We might not have much, but I need us to love each other and love ourselves. Right now, I'm seeing a whole bunch of you need to be a millionaire to be in my circle. I ain't got a Rolex on. I got a Vestal. Hold up. I ain't got a Rolex on, and I probably never wear one in my life. Understand that when I talked to Byron, who's worth $1 billion, I didn't ask him to give me $500,000 for an investment. What I told him is you gotta get something for black folks and do what you can for black folks. I'm telling you, I did the same shit with Dre. I'm not asking him to invest in the fund that's gonna pay me a salary. I need you to read this new Jim Crow because I don't know if you get access to this kind of information. I need our black people to understand how to be about other black people without hiding your own objectives and wealth goals under Black Lives Matter skin. And right now, what I'm seeing is a whole bunch of that. I'm reading this a little bit more, and he says he got 5.5% from a fund with more success, more experience, and owns major real estate. So then why would we give you 5.5%? He said he learned the model from white folks. But we talking about you being a genius black man that's going to give us something unique and different. Reggie, what you think about all this that I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like I said, I agree with you, Tone. I'm not trying to take a low shot, to Jay. When I say he's not the man like that, what I mean is that he hasn't demonstrated, what justifies all of these percentages, and he hasn't set up a structure to where he's held accountable not only to the investors but to black people as a whole if he's framing this as transformative. And just to go back to what you were talking about in terms of how he's framing this, and then you
Reg,
go on to different pages. And
I got to jump in because we coming towards the end of the show, and I need to frame something.
No doubt.
Look, man, let me say this. From Boston to LA, I always appreciate when you call into my show and show support. Thank you so much for your call. Yvette, are you still there?
I appreciate you too.
I'm here.
So look, one of the things that Jay said, and I want you to kind of frame this for me as we leave, is that he undercut the market by selling something that is worth negative value for $50. I use, he's from the dope game. I'm gonna use a key as an example. So if I got a key that's worth 10K or 12K, and then I just sell you the wrapper the key is in, but I sell it to you for $100, did I undercut the market? Or did I just try to sell you a wrapper that's worth a 50 cents for $100? You missing the key inside. So essentially Tulsa Real Estate Fund is the outside, kind of, the duct tape version of the outside of a real REIT, from my view. I'm not saying I'm an expert. You can go find other people that might know more than me. But I need us as black folks to understand that's the narrative behind so much of this financial wealth talk with black folks. It is a lie because what we found in the report that I did with Sandy Darity is that black folks, they need government to step up with baby bonds, with a federal jobs guarantee, with reparations for what we were lost in this country. Yvette, any last thing you want to say to the audience to frame this thing?
The last thing I want to say is like I said before, when you're doing the kind of business like this, he says, well, we're going to get real estate. It's not capitalized at all. But if you're going to do something this risky, you need a board of trusted business leaders. We need a board of some of the few black business leaders that we do have. The only thing Jay is surrounding himself with is Ernestine and this other woman. And I saw one guy from Boyce's channel or whatever. That's not a formula for what you're trying to do. And you can't keep trying to tell me this. And you can't keep trying to tell me one last thing. You keep telling me, well, I'm the only one who filed the SEC. You filed one SEC. That's all you did. You filed that one time, and you've only taken a swing. You act like you took a swing one time, you hit it out the park, and you want another swing. The only thing you did was took a swing. You ain't hit nothing yet, Jay, but you're looking real cocky for somebody that ain't hit nothing yet.
Yeah, man. Yvette, what I'm going to end on is, there's one line that says no one took a salary for 2 years. It's not, how do you not know that it's not our job to pay you for 2 years that you work somewhere else? Nobody worked on this fund for 2 years straight because in the document it says that it has de minimis office space. It wasn't a full-time job. So that right there just tells me a lot. What I challenge Jay is just pay yourself like $25,000 and that's it. But I'm talking about no extra like stuff. Like pictures and all that stuff. Just $25,000. That's what I'm gonna pay myself until I make this profitable. And if it's not profitable in a year, I'm gonna give you back whatever I got left. I'm not gonna gouge this thing with fees and everything else. If you can't do that, then I don't know how this all add up. I really don't know how to add up, even if you can do that, honestly. I appreciate everybody tuning in. This is Tone Talks. I wanted to have a productive discussion. Again, I invited the man. He didn't come. This is it. There's no discussion going on further as long as nothing is said on the internet that makes me talk more. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please pick up the SEC document, read for your own, and learn for your own. And let's just try to build. Thank you. Tone Talks brings to you the difference between black wealth and white wealth explained in less than 2 minutes. In America, we think that we understand race, wealth, and how the two intertwine. We believe in a sharing of wealth among the races that largely does not exist. The truth is, by the data, there are really hardly any blacks that are millionaires in the United States, and whites largely own almost all of the personal wealth in the country. According to demos.org, white America owns 90% of the national wealth, with the top 50% of white families holding 88% of all of America's personal wealth in their bank accounts. Despite having billionaire Oprah Winfrey, of the 14 million black families, less than a few 100,000 of these households are worth more than $1 million, and that number is shrinking. While at the same time, over 8.5 million white families are worth more than $1 million. Adding to this, almost all of the 540 American billionaires are white as well. In fact, according to a report by Credit Suisse, to be in the top 5% of black families, you only need to be worth $356,000, including your house. All while just the top few hundred white American families are worth more than all of black America combined. Subscribe to learn more at tonetalks.org.